with Jamie today. I met Jamie when she came for some lessons in Victoria, and she's a pretty cool chick, so we've started hanging out and she free rides. So today we're going to go and do a little bit of jumping, and we're going to show you some of the things that we've been working on, and hopefully you can pick this up and start doing it at home as well. So the particular exercise that we're working on today, it gets the horse lifting its legs up and getting it down quickly, and it's grid work. It teaches the horse to be quick in the brain and quick in the body, and it also teaches the rider to be quick as well. I do most of my work on grid work because for me I need to be safe, I need my horse to be safe, and if we look at any professional athlete around the world, when they're training, they work on a lot of high intensity gymnastic work. Whether it's the rugby player going through tires, getting down, getting up, passing the ball, any professional needs to be really quick in the mind, and it's the same with our horses. With this particular setup that we have today, we've got them set out at one stride. We have 5 jumps, and in the middle of each one of these jumps, we have a pole on the ground. Now this pole on the ground is directly in the middle of our one stride. What the pole before the jump does, and we've got 2 before and we have 2 after on the first and the last, is it backs that horse off a little bit and it helps them to get the right stride coming in. Horses often like to see, when they see the jump, they like to rush or they like to back off, which leads us to trouble later on. So it's a stepping stool to help the horse stay at the same speed and get to the right place for takeoff and for landing. So the pole before the jump slows the horse back and helps them get in the right place, and the pole after helps them to back off and not take off and helps them to land in the right place as well. From the start to the finish, you want the horse and rider in the middle of the jump, and you want the same speed and the same consistency. And what you'll notice if you start doing this at home is start with 1 jump first, then add 2. Then when you get that, add 3. Then you can add another one. Don't start with 5. This is just what we're working on today because the horse and rider are ready for it. So the idea of the poles here is that we don't actually want the rider cutting the corner coming into this grid. We want the rider and horse doing a nice straight turn coming into it, so that when they get out of the corner, they're directly in the middle of the grid from all the way back here. That means if the horse is going to go sideways, left or right, or if they're going to rush or if they're going to back off, the rider now has 3, 4 or 5 strides to actually fix that problem before they get to the first jump. And a lot of riders really struggle not to cut their corners in show jumping courses, on cross-country courses, and I don't mind if people cut corners as long as it's on purpose. If you can't ride a straight line coming into a jump, you're really going to get into trouble when those jumps start getting bigger. So having the poles here helps the rider to actually visually see where they need to go. Once they get good at it, we can take the poles away and the rider can start to imagine those lines there instead. What is my purpose? My purpose is to warm my horse up in his body and in his mind to get him listening to me, and my purpose is to warm myself up as well, because it's not just about the horse. How am I going to get that happening? I'm going to change the speed, keep my horse going straight. We don't want him coming to the inside of the arena. When you say go, he goes. When you say slow, he slows. Because if we can't get the horse listening on the flat, we're not going to get the horse listening over the jump. Give him a great big cut. I want you to take a great big deep breath, and we're going to go to our warm-up. Where you go? Hold him, now leg, now leg, now leg. Here we go down. Go, left, finish the warm-up. Come right on the line. Sticky cut. Good girl. Leg on, go one faster, slow down. Good, leg, 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 leg. Good, there we go, there we go. Good girl, finish the corner. Good, now you walk. So if the horse does get into trouble, and it's not really a matter of if, but it's a matter of when, and this is why we train for it. If they jump too big over the first one, it eats up space of our one stride in the middle, which means they're going to get very close into the second one and kind of jump over themselves, or they might knock her out, or they might lose confidence and stop. The same if they get too close to the first. It means they have a huge one stride in the middle and they can lose confidence, stop, or have an ugly jump. What grid work does is it teaches the horse and the rider to get good at getting out of tricky situations. And especially if you're free riding, you need to have control at all times. You need that horse to be able to think for themselves, and you need to know that if you get into a really dangerous bad situation that you can get yourself out again, especially on the cross-country course. So I encourage you, if you're competing at a metre, you need to be doing solid grid work at a metre 10. You need to train harder at home than what you compete at, so that way when you get to a competition and you only have 2 jumps in a row, well, hey, that's easy. We can navigate 5. We can get it wrong in the first one, and then we can pick it up without crashing, without running out, and we can make it through the combination. Slow down. Start to get faster in the jump. Leg on. Look right, keep them in the middle. Keep them in the middle. Good. Quickly change the canter leg back to trot. Canter right. Good. Now we can change direction. Looking left. Good. Now slow down. We don't want to rush through this. Put your hands on the table a little. Half hold. Now left. Good. Hands forward up and jump. Good. I find whenever we're training a horse to jump without the bridle and saddle, when we're free riding, we want to make it as kind and easy for that horse as possible. So I'll always get on with the bridle first, and I'll get the horse listening, I'll get them jumping well. And only when the horse is listening well with the bridle do I actually take it off. And that way I'm setting myself up for success, and I'm setting my horse up for success as well. Especially if you have a sensitive horse or a hard horse who loses their confidence easy, and that's gold rush to a T. Are you ready? All right, go for it. Nothing changes. Look left. Back to trot quickly. Look left. Pick up the canter. Good. Give them a rub. Push them on. A little bit more. Keep that chin up. Quick. Back off. Push on. Good. Keep going. Down corner. Bring your shoulders back and your chin up and relax and go. When we're riding together, I try to stay relaxed until the base. Heel down. Good. Until the base of the jump and walk. Give him a great big huge pat. Tell him how great he is. So we always want to make sure with our horse when we're training that we make it as easy as possible for that horse to learn and to progress through the levels. I never start by free riding on big heights. I never start by just putting my hands over out over the first jump I jump. I gradually build up through that lesson so that we're finishing exactly where we want to be. And we haven't fought with the horse, we haven't crashed anything, we don't fall off. It's just setting our horse and rider up for success by taking it a little bit at a time. Start with the bridle and saddle, get the horse listening, and then you can slowly start taking piece by piece away, making sure that you're succeeding along the way. If you have trouble, just stop and go put the gear back on, and that way it just makes it a lot easier for the horse in the long run. There we go. Head squat will be done. It's good, and arms out. Good girl. Give him a huge big pat. Well done. And tell him how great he is, and we're going to walk him out. You just keep on patting that little horse who's really trying hard.